Hello Martins, my name is Kris Vanderbusch. My wife Vanessa and I, we serve with Power to Change in Brisbane, Australia, which is part of the International Crew Network. We have 3 children and a little one that is due in December. This year has been quite unprecedented. With the lockdowns that we had in Australia that were quite strict back in March, we had to stop all of our in-person gatherings, conferences and events until basically July. And so we always were wanting to do more in the digital space, and this year we definitely were forced to go into these new areas, and we're glad that we have, but it's been a big lesson in just upskilling and figuring out how do we go about this and just the reality of what is this year. And so I'm on the national video team, and one of the things that I helped volunteer for was putting together our national digital winter conference that took place in July. So we didn't know how to do live streaming, we didn't know how to do any of these events, and the month of June we just figured it out, got everything that we needed, and in July we had over 300 students come together online across the country, and it was just an amazing time. People really connected with the Lord, and we saw several students come to know the Lord. My wife Vanessa and I are also the National Summer Project coordinators here in Australia, so we run the summer missions that take place over November to February. So these missions are 2 weeks long with heaps of evangelism and Christian community, but also really focusing on what does it mean to walk with Jesus for a lifetime. And so these events have quite a few restrictions this year with COVID going on, and so we're been working hard to navigate that to make sure we follow the local guidelines and state guidelines. And so things are trending positive, that it looks like we'll be able to have our in-person missions for every state except for Victoria. Melbourne's been pretty hard locked down the last 2 months, and so they're going to be totally online this year. So we really appreciate it if you'd be praying for these events so that we could still be able to meet, that the gospel would go out strongly, and that the students would catch the vision of how they can walk with Jesus and be disciple makers for the rest of their lives. So thank you so much for being a part of bringing the gospel down under. There's so many nationalities here that it goes around the world for when the gospel moves. And so thank you again for being a part of what God is doing in Australia.